Ladies and gentlemen, you see, most people spend their whole lives standing at the edge of their potential, looking down at what they could be, what they could build, what they could become, yet they never jump. They tell themselves they're waiting for the right moment, the right resources, the right confidence, the right sign. But the truth is, there is no right moment. There is only now. I learned early on that greatness never arrives wrapped in certainty. It arrives wrapped in fear, doubt, and the unknown. And if you want to move from where you are to where you dream to be, you have to be willing to step while your knees are still shaking. When I first stepped into this world, audition scripts, stages, I didn't have a roadmap. I didn't have every skill sharpened. I didn't have the confidence people think I was born with. What I had was a decision to try, even if I stumbled. A decision to walk into the room even if I felt out of place. A decision to act before I felt fully prepared. And let me tell you something, every room you walk into before you're ready becomes a room that shapes you. Every challenge you say yes to, even when you're scared, becomes a lesson that strengthens your foundation. Most people want the feeling of confidence first, but confidence is a reward, not a requirement. You earn it by taking imperfect steps, by doing the thing you're afraid of, by showing up when your mind is telling you to stay small. You grow into readiness. You expand into capability. You evolve into strength. And you cannot evolve if you never begin. Life doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be present. It asks you to show up, to take the first step, to give yourself permission to start. Because the truth is, there are opportunities right now with your name on them, but they'll never reveal themselves to you while you're standing still. Momentum only comes to those who move. Doors only open for those who knock. And faith only rises in those who dare to act. So don't wait for the day you feel brave. Don't wait for the day everything is lined up. Move anyway. Step anyway. Begin anyway. Because the moment you step forward, even uncertain, even trembling, the universe begins to shift in your favor. And you'll look back one day and realize that starting before you were ready was the very thing that made you unstoppable. People talk about motivation like it's magic. Like it's this unstoppable energy that shows up every morning, pulls back your covers, lifts you out of bed, and marches you toward greatness. But anyone who has ever achieved anything extraordinary knows the truth. Motivation is unreliable. It's emotional. It's inconsistent. It rises with your mood and disappears with your excuses. It's there when the sun is shining, when life is smooth, when everything feels light. But the moment life punches you in the gut, motivation is the first thing to run. Discipline is a whole different force. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't negotiate with your comfort. It doesn't ask you whether you're in the mood. Discipline is the quiet, unglamorous, stubborn decision to do the work every single day, whether the world applauds you or ignores you. It's the part of you that keeps going when your mind is tired and your heart is heavy. It's the engine that keeps moving long after motivation has burned out. I remember mornings when I didn't feel like getting up, days when the script felt heavy, nights when doubt sat on my shoulders like, wait. Motivation? Nowhere to be found, but discipline, that steady, determined, persistent commitment, was always there. Discipline whispered, "Get up." Discipline said, "A push through." Discipline reminded me, "This is who you said you wanted to become." And because I listened to discipline, not motivation, opportunities opened that I could have only dreamed of. You build discipline in the small moments, waking up when you want to sleep in, making one more call when you'd rather quit, practicing one more hour when everyone else has stopped. These are the moments that shape you behind closed doors. These are the moments that turn ordinary people into champions, into leaders, into unstoppable forces. Motivation might start your journey, but discipline completes it. Motivation gives you inspiration, but discipline gives you transformation. And here's the truth. Discipline is freedom. It's freedom. Freedom from regret, freedom from inconsistency, freedom from your old self. Because every act of discipline is a vote for the person you want to become. Over time, those votes add up. They become your character. They become your identity. They become your power. So when the excitement fades, when the hype dies down, when the dream feels far away and motivation has packed its bags and left, discipline is the voice that remains. The voice that says, get up anyway. Try again anyway. Try again anyway. Move forward anyway. And when you listen to that voice long enough, consistently enough, fiercely enough, there comes a day when you won't just be motivated. You'll be unstoppable. Every day you wake up, your mind is a battlefield. Before you even step out the door, before you talk to anyone, before you make a single decision, your thoughts are already shaping the direction of your life. And most people don't realize how vulnerable that space is. They let anything walk into their mind. Fear disguised as advice, negativity dressed like honesty, doubt delivered through people who have never built anything themselves. But if you want to become unstoppable, the first thing you must guard is your mindset, because everything you are building starts there. Your mind is the foundation of your future. If the foundation is weak, nothing you create will stand. But if your foundation is strong, rooted in belief, discipline, vision, no storm, no setback, no betrayal, no disappointment can break you. I learned that the world will always have something to say about you. Always. It will tell you what you can't do, what you shouldn't try, why you don't belong. And if you don't protect your mind, those voices start to sound like your own. That's why I talk about feeding your mind daily. Because most people feed their fears more than they feed their potential. They let gossip shape their confidence. They let comparison poison their progress. They let the noise of the world drown out the whisper of their own purpose. But unstoppable people, they choose what they allow in. They choose what they listen to. They choose what they believe. They know that what enters the mind soon enters the heart, and what enters the heart eventually enters the life. You have to surround yourself with people who speak possibility, not limitation. People who remind you of who you can become, not who you've been. You have to read things that stretch your thinking, watch things that elevate your perspective, listen to things that challenge your excuses. And sometimes protecting your mind means walking away from conversations that drain you, from environments that diminish you, from people who don't see your worth even when you've shown it. And let me tell you a truth that took me years to understand. Silence is also protection. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is step away from the noise, sit with yourself, reconnect with your spirit, and remind yourself of the vision God put inside you. Because when your mind is aligned, your decisions are sharper, your habits are stronger, your path becomes clearer. You can have talent, you can have dreams, you can have passion, but if your mindset is unprotected, all of it can crumble in an instant. But if your mindset is fortified, fed with intention, guarded with discipline, strengthened with belief, then life can throw what it wants at you, and you'll still rise. You'll still push forward. You'll still move with purpose. Because an unstoppable life starts with an unstoppable mind. And an unstoppable mind is something you must choose to build, choose to protect, and choose to strengthen. Every single day, failure has a way of introducing you to yourself. Not the version of you that smiles on good days, not the version that knows the right things to say when life is smooth. No, failure introduces you to the part of you that fights, the part that grows, the part that refuses to stay down. Most people run from failure like it's a monster chasing them. But the truth is, failure isn't there to destroy you. Failure is there to develop you. Every person who has ever achieved anything meaningful has been knocked flat by life. And let me tell you something. Those hits aren't accidents. Those hits are lessons. Those moments are shaping tools. So I've faced my share of closed doors, rejections, mistakes, and disappointments. Moments where I questioned myself, moments where I wondered if I was even on the right path. But years later, when I look back, I realized every loss carried a seed. A seed of wisdom, a seed of strength, a seed of direction I could not have learned any other way. Failure doesn't come to shame you. It comes to sharpen you. It comes to remove what's weak in you so the strong part can rise. When you fall, you're not just falling. You're learning where you slipped. You're learning how to balance better. You're learning how to walk stronger. Failure is the world's greatest teacher, but only the humble have the courage to stay in the classroom. Most people let failure define them. They let one mistake become their identity. They let one setback convince them they're not capable. But unstoppable people, they flip the script. They don't ask, "Oh, why did this happen to me?" They ask, "Oh, what is this trying to teach me?" And that question is where breakthroughs are born. You see, every failure has two endings, the ending where you quit and the ending where you come back wiser, tougher, sharper. When you choose the second ending, the world can't stop you, because the worst thing that could have happened to you already happened, and you survived it. You got back up. You kept walking, you kept believing. And there is a certain kind of power that only comes from rising after you've fallen, a certain fire that only burns in people who have tasted defeat and still refused to bow. A certain confidence that grows in you when you realize your scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs of resilience. So don't hide your failures. Don't bury them. Don't be ashamed of them. Study them. Learn from them. Use them. Because failure is not a step backward. Failure is a step forward if you choose to walk through it instead of running away from it. Every misstep, every rejection, every disappointment is carving you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone unstoppable. There comes a moment in life when you realize that your strength, your talent, your gift, whatever it is you carry inside you, was never meant to serve just you. The people who rise above the noise, above the distractions, above the limitations of the world, they are the ones who understand that their life is connected to something greater, something wider, something deeper, a purpose that pulls them forward even on the days they don't feel like moving. When your purpose is small, your effort will be small. When your purpose is selfish, your fire will burn out early. But when your purpose serves others, when it lifts someone, heals someone, inspires someone, you tap into a power that does not run out. That kind of purpose becomes fuel. It becomes direction. It becomes strength on days when your own motivation is nowhere to be found. Every person who has changed the world didn't do it because they wanted fame or applause. They did it because they felt responsible for something bigger than their comfort. They felt called, chosen, pulled towards something only they could do. And here's the truth, every single person has that calling in them. You have it in you. But most people never slow down long enough, never quiet the noise long enough, never look inward deeply enough to recognize it. When you live with purpose, your decisions get sharper. You stop wasting time. You stop entertaining distractions. You stop chasing validation. Instead, you chase impact. You chase growth. You chase the version of yourself that God knows you can become. You start to understand that your gift is not just for your success. It is for your service. Your story is not just for your survival. It is for someone else's hope. And purpose does something extraordinary. It gives meaning to your struggles. The pain you went through, the disappointments you endured, the storms you survived, they stop feeling like random suffering and start feeling like preparation. Preparation for the people you're meant to help, the doors you're meant to open, the lives you're meant to touch. Suddenly, your past becomes power, not punishment. When you anchor yourself to a purpose bigger than your ego, you become unshakable. Criticism doesn't break you. Failure doesn't stop you. Rejection doesn't define you. Because you're no longer moving for applause, you're moving for impact. And impact always finds a way. Purpose keeps you steady in the storm. Purpose keeps you humble in success. Purpose keeps you hungry when others get comfortable. Purpose makes you unstoppable. And there's a moment, you'll feel it, when you realize that everything you're doing has become bigger than you. Bigger than your fear, bigger than your doubt, bigger than your limitations. That's when you step into a different kind of power, a power that doesn't just push you forward, it pulls others forward with you. And when you start lifting others, inspiring others, helping others rise, your life stops being ordinary. It becomes legacy.